So I'm Flight Lieutenant Tracy Molyneux, and I work back at home at Frimley Park Hospital as part of Defence Medical Group South East. The biggest difference for us here is the terrain and the infrastructure. We strive to give the same standard of care that the NHS give, and the majority of the time we're achieving that. So for us, it's getting the troops used to working in the heat, building the tents, building the hospital. We had a bit of a sandstorm, so it's just those kind of environmental factors that we need to consider. My job here is to be head of department for the wards, and my job back at home is head of department for a medical ward. So those roles are very similar, and there isn't much difference. So the biggest thing for us is moving all the kit out here, getting used to the terrain, the heat, looking after the troops in the hot weather, and building our own hospital.
What you can see here, the patient will have just arrived out the back of a battlefield ambulance. The staff here, their job is responsible for checking the patient to make sure they don't have any stuff on them that's going to compromise the safety. So for example, magazines, ammunition. If it's found, you can see they're putting it into a bag.
Clear.
Okay, and then once they're happy, they give the all clear and the patient will move into the emergency department. The triage nurse will decide which is the most severely injured patient. They will come into the complex first. Once they're in this facility, they will be assessed and then a decision made on whether they are going to be taken into theatre or taken to the wards for theatre later. So if they go into theatre, then they will leave through this exit. When the patient arrives in theatre, they'll be taken over by the ED, by the theatre staff, and this is where they'll have the operation. Once they're stabilised, if they need intensive care, then they will move out of this exit and taken into the intensive care bed. If they're well enough to go to the wards, then they will come out of theatre or out of intensive care once they've recovered, and taken into the ward area. This ward has 12 beds, 11 of which are for general patients, and there's one isolation bed.